So today I really want to talk to you about great founders that have amazing visions. And for those visions to take foothold in the world, money is definitely going to be required. However, attracting investor interest isn't always as easy as you might have anticipated. So we have made it our mission to help our startup partners to secure investment by finding the best way to present their vision to VC investors. In my experience, there are only three things that you really need to consider when pitching to an investor. Firstly, you need to get them interested in your story before you actually tell your story. So here I can let you in on a little secret. If you understand how to use Netflix, you understand the principles about how VC investors are enticed. The same way that you select a movie is the same way that they select the startups that they want to pay attention to. Now, we've all been there, endlessly scrolling through hundreds of films, finding it difficult to choose the right one. That is called paralysis of choice. Now, you can't and definitely don't want to watch every single film, so before you hit play, your brain will need to take various mental shortcuts to come to one final decision. So your decision-making process might be, has the movie been recommended to you by a friend? Do they actually understand your interests? Does it have a cast of actors that you either love or hate? Does it have an appealing thumbnail and an enticing 50-word synopsis? Has it got good media reviews? This assessment process is exactly the same process that VCs will take to review hundreds of pitch decks that come across their desks, and they'll only select a few startup investments from that. They will look for things like, has your business been referred to them by another investor? Do you have a recognizable and well-known all-cast team of founders? Do you have a polished and well-designed pitch deck that can tell your success story in the first 4 slides? And when they search in the media, are your headlines going to come up? Only once they've decided that your pitch is remotely interesting will they decide to click play. So do not start off your emails and pitches by telling your entire story straight away. You need to start by profiling your superstar team of founders. Maybe reference some exciting traction figures. Try name-dropping some of your biggest clients. All of these are bound to attract investor attention. The second thing that you need to consider when pitching is you must tell the most optimized version of your story. The ideal pitch needs to be short, but no shorter than it should be. You need to think of your pitch as a Formula One race car. There is not one single part on that F1 car that isn't absolutely essential. It is a near-perfect machine built for one solid purpose: to win. So every single gram of weight that can be removed is removed. Every opportunity for optimization is seized. And every race performance will give you clues into the next component that needs to be innovated. Your pitch needs to be built for exactly the same purpose. However, you need to come out ahead of your competition. So it needs to be carved down to its most efficient shape and optimized at every single pitch point. You need to experiment from pitch to pitch, remove and reduce content, see how investors react to it. Try improvising on your phrasing so that you start to tell new and better stories about your product and service. Ask your investors and advisors for feedback and to point out the parts in the pitch that are not working for you. The more you do this, the more positive your encounters will be with investors, partners, and your end customers. It will make you more confident, and this confidence will give you the buy-in that you need. My last and final point is you need to differentiate or die. Never, ever, ever walk into a pitch unarmed against the question, what makes your company different? Be prepared and have a really good answer, because this is basically a deal breaker for most investors. The VCs that we work with typically only invest in about 1 to 5% of the startups that pitch to them. So their job is to say no, and only very occasionally to say yes. They're looking for companies that are doing exciting things, that break out of the sea of sameness, They're looking for that unicorn. Luckily, differentiation can come in many different forms. So it may be that you've patented a new technology, or you found a new way of rendering a service. Maybe you're targeting regions that others have overlooked, or you have an all-star founder team. Whatever it is, your point of differentiation needs to do two things. It needs to clearly outline why you are unique and different, and it needs to position you for success and have a competitive advantage. So think long and hard about what makes you uniquely positioned for success. Go and do your research on similar businesses, make comparisons. And once you're armed with that information, you can decide whether your business really has the edge or whether it needs some adjustment. In closing, I would just like to say that next time you walk into a pitch to an investor or anybody, you need to remember three important things. Number one, sell your story before you tell your story, and make sure your company looks exciting before you go into the details. Number two, keep optimizing your pitch. Reduce the content until all the fat is cut off. And number three, clearly identify what makes you unique and what makes you stand out of the crowd. This is my advice to you and the recipe that we use to help our startups secure the funding that they need. I really, really hope that this advice will help you on your hero's journey in the future. Thank you.